Good morning, Facebook. First and foremost, this is the day that the Lord has made. We all ought to truly rejoice and be glad in it. I'm thankful that God has just given me another day um, here in 2014, and I'm happy for that. We're in August now, so we're more than halfway through the year. God is good. But I come before you today uh, with some news, just in case you guys don't know. First and foremost, uh, we're all people and we all make mistakes. And that's because we're all human and there's none perfect but the Father, Jesus Christ. However, I believe that when we make mistakes, we should be man enough to own up to them and accept responsibility and, whatever capacity to stand in the gap for the mistake that we made. So, I'm just gonna back brief a little bit, and I'm gonna try not to be before you long, but you'll see. So, July 14th, 2014, I received a letter from the president of the DMV chapter. It's a letter of inquiry regarding the possibility of misappropriating funds from a fundraiser that I established uh, back in for the cancer walk. So, just give you a little bit of a back brief before I go into all of these formalities. Um, our organization, we're pretty fresh and young, and we're trying to find ways to establish capital. So one of the things that we decided to do here in the DMV, I had some connections, so I found a way to don't. I found a manager who donated us a television, a 42-inch flat screen television, out of a Wells Fargo. So they upgraded their electronics, and the only way they could get rid of the old was to donate. So I asked them to donate it to our organization, secops.org, so that we could raffle it off to put money into, try to start a little money in our own little bank. So it was agreed upon by the then uh, chapter president of the DMV, which was Rice Smitty, and it was also agreed upon by an executive board member who actually wrote the thank you letter to the bank with our 501c signature, appreciating, giving him appreciation for donating us a TV because he really didn't have to. Long story short, so I decided that I was going to raffle off the TV as Kevin Lee did for the first reunion. It was seemed to be pretty successful. He said he got over $1,000. So I tried to do the same thing. Unfortunately, uh, we didn't get as much. I don't know if it was because I wasn't as hardworking, or maybe just people weren't into it as they were, during the first reunion. Either way, um, a couple of days, maybe one day, or maybe the morning of July 14th, there was a few messages that went on in the DMV group that were brought up by a board member, and pretty much I was accused of, misappropriating this money. I was asked how much we raised for this particular event, and then after I gave a price, this particular, you know, agent who had a right. Let me express that. Every agent has a right to transparency when it comes to what their money is going to. I have no problem with that. But after you've been given that answer and then you accuse people of stealing or misappropriating, I feel like you should be held accountable as well. So I was blasted. I'm just gonna put it out plainly. I was blasted and accused of stealing money. The post was deleted before I got to complete my response. So I don't feel that I was able to answer him adequately in his messiness to try to accuse me of stealing money. So on the 14th of July, I received a letter of inquiry from the current president of the DMV chapter, Marcus Sanders, and I'm just putting everybody's name out because I think that's the right thing to do. And my name was put out there, so here we go. So this letter was from Marcus Sanders, the current president of the DMV chapter. It was sent to the former president, Ryan Smith, the former co-president, Nathan Lanier, and to myself, who was at that time the chapter fundraiser treasurer. And I really don't know if I'm going to have a time to read it all to you guys, because sometimes I understand that I can be a little long-winded. But anyways, he'd like to thank each of us for our contributions to both the group and the chapter. We all, according to him, bring a set of unique skills and talents that are unmatched within the group. This letter comes in regards to the funds raised for the television, uh, spearheaded by SecOps agent myself, Cunningham. Charles Cunningham. Speculation has arisen that questions the amount of funds raised vice the amount of funds that was turned over to the Secret Operations Group. That being said, I'm asking that each of you provide a signed written recollection of your knowledge of the fundraiser and participation level. As well, I would move to ask that you also attach any documentation that you have to help support your statements or your findings. My principal concern is that we establish three things. One, from whom the funds were collected. Two, how much was collected from each individual. And three, to determine if there was any unaccounted for monies. All right, so pretty much that's his letter. Now, mind you, I took this very seriously because two reasons. Number one, this is a group that I believed in. I love this group. And when I got out of the military, I put a lot of my energy into doing this. I even ran for the board. I was on the board. But after this accusation by a fellow board member who didn't even have, and I'll tell you his name because everybody's putting my name out there. After Ian Ernest, or I don't, after he accused me of stealing money, I had this response. Or after it was made such a big deal that we actually had to get the presidents involved. Yeah, first off, I resigned from the board because you being a board member and I being a board member, if you had a question about how the funds were collected, for those of you who don't know, there's a separate private group of all board members. He could have easily, in my opinion, asked me that question right over there because we both belong to that group. But no, he did not. He decided to do this publicly to the DMV chapter. So I'm going to publicly respond now. And I waited because I was told that once all of the information was turned in to Marcus Sanders, that I would get some type of resolution. So the second reason why it's so important is this is an organization. And I don't know if you guys have been watching the news lately, but there are a lot of people who are going to jail for laundering money, for misappropriating funds. These are politicians. So to show you how, serious this accusation is, people go to jail for this for, thousands and millions of dollars. And even though this isn't about thousands or millions of dollars, the principle is still the same. So to me, that's why it's very important because my name is behind it. And this is a true registered organization, Secret Operations Group. No, this is real. We have a 501c number. We also, are regulated by the Internal Revenue Service, just like every other business and organization. So to be accused of stealing money, it was bigger than just a personal attack on, my integrity. But now you've said that I've cheated an organization, which means this organization, if they find right, has the right to sue me or take me to court or press charges. That just wasn't something going to happen. So out of his letter that he asked me to submit, I submitted all of my findings. And you'll notice that they're here just in military style because we're all military. You'll notice that they're all here. This is my letter from him to them, to Marcus Sanders, the chapter president. And here are all my enclosures. And here is just about everything I have to say. So I'm going to paraphrase a little bit of this because I'm going to post it so you all can read it for yourself. So pretty much in these efforts to, raise this money. Now, there was another question that was raised to, well, why couldn't I provide proof of everything that's been going on? So at the time that I was the president, that I was the chairman for this foundation, I had a record of everything. Every ticket that I passed out and every ticket that I sold, because there was a difference. I pre-passed out tickets and people promised that they were gonna bring the money in from those tickets. So if I gave you $100, if I gave you 100 tickets, then you should have brought me $100. I'm gonna say now that less than half the people, I'm sorry, let me say this, only 3 people that I gave 100 tickets to brought me $100. And now, mind you, I had given out over 1,500 tickets. So anyway, I had all of that in an Excel document. At one of our earlier meetings during that year, or during this year, it was decided that Charles would no longer be the chapter treasurer. And the reason that I kind of fell into the chapter treasurer, because I became the chairman for the fundraising for our particular chapter. Recognizing that we did not have a bank, I went to the same bank manager who donated us the TV, who happens to be a close friend of mine, and asked him to set up a business account for us. Myself and Nathan Lanier were on the account as the owners, but it was under the business name of Secret Operations Group Incorporated. So that's where we put the funds for the money. Now, after that, after I was relieved, mind you, it was still in the middle of the fundraising event. So I was relieved. I was told by the then current chapter president, Rice Smitty, that I was told by the then president, Rice Smitty, that I would no longer be the treasurer, and that job was going to be taken over by Calvin Stanberry. Now, again, I'm saying these names because, number one, there should be documented proof of all of this. Somebody should have it. But number two, these names are important in the chain when you're going through the chain of events that have taken place. So after that, knowing that I would no longer be the treasurer after that Sunday dinner, I continued my duties as the fundraiser manager, chairman, and I continued to sell the tickets. So we did the drawing on the day of the cancer walk. I have a receipt for the person who won. This is the receipt that I have for the person who won, and he came to my house and he picked up the television. So there we go. So there's that. So here I have are the bank statements. Now, I messed up, and here's where I messed up. Once I was relieved of that position and once I got rid of that television, I didn't feel a need to keep anything. I really, really did. And I said, hey, you're not the treasurer anymore. Nobody was making an honest effort to come to me to pick up all of the records. No one even came to me and said, hey, I'm the new treasurer, or, you're not the treasurer anymore. Let's get this account switched over out of your name, to the new treasurer. So I don't even know what happened to that deal. And nevertheless, though, I have 2 bank statements. One for the business Wells Fargo, one for the business checking, and one for the business savings. They will show you that every dime that was put in there, they're going to show you the accountability for it. So let's talk about the accountability for it. When I started the account, the manager who helped me start the account, not to my knowledge, or I maybe didn't read, because I did not possibly. I didn't read that these 2 accounts would be attached to my personal accounts. And so in the event of an overdraft, the money's going to come out of this business account. Well, unfortunately, that happened. And it was the amount of $95. So $95 was pulled from the SecOps account into my account to cover an overdraft. Once the situation was brought to me, I immediately took care of that. I have messages from myself and Nathan Lanier asking how much was in the account back on, where's the date on these Facebook messages? I can't seem to find it right now, and I don't really want to waste your time. So I got a message from him telling me how short that the main group was in the payments for our last Houston trip. I told him there's $23.25 in the bank. He can go in there and get that money. So Nathan texts me. I got the text message right here. Text message says, hey, what happened to the $325? It's not all there. That's when I called the bank, found out that it was attached to my overdraft, and I immediately had them fix it. Now, the date timestamp on this inquiry for how much money was there was on the 9th of June at 7:14 or 19:14. You'll see that my response is on the very next day, the 10th of June, responding to him about what happened at 9:55 that morning. So, all was back to normal because he identified it to me. I called the bank. The bank said that, okay, we'll fix it, but it's not going to take place until the next business day. So he said, thanks again. And then the money was taken out of the account. So, two questions here. Either we didn't raise enough money or as much money that we thought we were going to raise because we only got 325, or the other accusation is Charles collected way more than 325 and he only turned in 325. So, from the first time I was asked when this money was about 2 or 3 weeks. After I had already told Nate how much we had via Facebook message, and Nate told me, hey, make sure you have everything documented. And at the time, while that was my current position, I did. But like I said, when I left that position, I no longer kept any documentation. So I deleted a lot of it. It took me a lot to undelete a lot of these files. I almost had to go and pay someone. And so anyway, I'm pretty much just simply saying this. Number one, if you have a question for somebody, I think the most respectable, mature thing to do is go to them face to face. All of this catty and messiness where it appears, because I'm not gonna assume anything, but it appears that individuals like to be messy. They like to be messy, just rude, and I don't know why people feed off of that. Like that's crazy to me. It's like you have nothing better to do with your life than to just start drama, in some way, form, or fashion wherever you are. That's not unprofessional. I mean, I'm sorry, that's not professional at all. And for you to be a board member, for myself to be fuck the board, for us to be grown men. You mean to tell me that you felt that this was the best way to get your grievances across, was to just try to blast me in front of everybody? If that's how you feel, that's unfortunate, because I was taught better. So maybe one day you will learn that lesson. The other reason why I'm doing this now is because I waited, and I've been waiting, and I'm still waiting for the findings from the president. Now, the president said that these findings would be the current president said that these findings would be posted and available at the last headquarters DMV meeting. For whatever reason, they were overlooked and they were not there. So I inquired about it because, this is important to me. I'm going to save this document just in case in the future I'm ever again, charged. What if I'm officially charged later? This is an important inquiry here. So anyway, I requested his findings. And I've been told I'm going to email them to you. I'm going to text them to you, or not text them to you. I'm going to post them in the group. And needless to say, these documents have not yet been produced. I met with the president yesterday at a mutual meeting. We had an event for one of our own, the great Darius McInnes, and we still haven't found that paperwork. He said he had it on his phone. I asked to see it. For some reason, he couldn't pull it up or something like that. Later, I find out from another board member how many people were okay, there were a couple of board members there. So I found out from another board member that it appeared, because this is all hearsay, it appeared that he wanted to show Ernest the letter before I saw the letter. And I'm only getting this from the other individual who was there, who said, yes, I saw him show Ernest the letter, and he wanted to show it to Ernest first before he published it. Now, if that's true, that's a little weird to me, because Ernest was not the one who was being accused. I was. So for you to, if this is true, for you to want to show it to the accuser or the prosecutor before you show it to me, the one who's trying to defend himself, it appears to be a little shady. Whether it was shady or not shady, it just appeared that I had asked and repeatedly asked for these information to be found, and I was told that it was unavailable. But when the person who is accusing me, he has it readily available for him, it just appears to be shady. So here's the deal. Obviously I'm hurt. I resigned from the board because I refuse to work with people like that. And I think the next step, which is not going to really affect any of the really 1,500 people there, because, we all have our own lives. And this is not a threat, but I'm thinking to myself, why stay in a group of individuals to be treated in such a disrespectful manner? This group is supposed to be about, you know, empowerment, supporting one another. And yeah, we have fun and we play games and, nobody's perfect. But this is our core now. This Facebook group is a Facebook group, but this organization is bigger than just Facebook. So why would I stay in an organization who has literally just drug my name through the dirt by accusing me of stealing, and now no one wants to talk about it? So this is the last thing I'm going to say about it, but I wanted to make sure that somebody heard my piece, because this is unprofessional. And should this get deleted, don't worry. I will have this on my personal page as well, and I will upload every single document that I have to show you, the transparency that I believe the group needs. Now, where's everyone else's paperwork? I don't know. I even have Facebook messages from individuals who told myself, hey, listen, I wasn't able to get a hold of you, so I gave my money to another member and my tickets, and they're going to give it to you. Do you know that to this day I've still not heard from that member? But I'm the one who's being shady. And I want to just put everybody's dirt out there. I really, really do. But that would make me no better than them. So the only thing I've given you were the key personnel, the reason why I'm doing this, and who caused me to do that. And I believe that's all that needs to be discussed. So if you have any other questions for me, let me know. I've given you all that I can from here, and I hope, it is my sincere hope, that I get some type of resolution now, because I've been caused a little bit of frustration and disrespect. And if you really wanted to be technical about it, those are grounds for being sued too. Now, I'm not suing anyone, but I'm just simply saying, see how all of this messiness can spiral out into something that was never intended to be? So maybe this should just be an indicator that, hey, I need a life, and my life needs to consist more than just trying to embarrass people in public, trying to make people look bad. And you know what? It should actually be invested in better ways, in more ways than how I can better myself. So I'm doing that. And for the next person that accuses me, I hope that you're going to do that well before we get to that point. And, maybe we can just be men about it. And you can come to me like a grown man, ask me whatever questions you have, be willing to listen for the results that they might not be the results that you want, but you will get an honest to God answer from me. So before you go out, plastering stuff, and the excuse that I keep hearing is, oh, it wasn't really me, it was just a question from everybody else. Well, either you're their God Almighty and they feel like they need to go to you, or they don't have the balls enough to come to me themselves, or this may be something that was originated by you specifically and you're looking for a scapegoat. I don't know if either of those are true, but I'm here and I'm waiting for a response from this. And, honestly, it's not even too late for an apology. We're grown men. I apologize for not keeping all of those records, because clearly, had I did that, I wouldn't have had to go through all the stress of trying to go and recover all of those records. But everything that I've got is here. Where's anything that you have?